Associate head coach Larry Davis. Coach Davis and the Bearcats are the number 8 seed. We'll ask Coach Davis to make an opening statement, then he'll be ready to take your questions.
First of all, congratulations to all the other teams that are in this particular site. Anytime you make the NCAA tournament, it's a great honor to make that because only the field of 68 make it, so we're honored to be in it. We want to represent Cincinnati and our program at the highest level, and just excited, really excited to be here and participating, and look forward to tomorrow night's game.
If you have a question for Coach Davis, please raise your hand. We'll send a microphone attendant in your direction. Before asking your question, please state your name and media outlet. If you have a question, let us know. Raise your hand. There's one on the left in the front.
Reggie Hayes, Fort Wayne News Sentinel. Wondered if you could tell me if there really is a lot of similarities between Purdue and Cincinnati and how they approach the game, especially defensively.
Well, if you look at the numbers, it's staggeringly close in terms of number of points allowed. We both are holding teams to about 39% shooting from the field. I think they're allowing 64. We're allowing 62 points per game overall for the year. The only difference really between the two, I think, is the foul disparity. They seem to foul a lot more than we do. But other than that, the numbers, boy, you go down the rebounding numbers, the shooting percentage numbers, all that, it lines up within 1 or 2 points. Block shots are within 1/10 of a point. So we do, we both defend and play very similarly defensively. They do it out of man-to-man. We do it a little bit more out of zone. Although they'll play a little zone, we'll play a little man. So, as my dad used to say, there's 100 ways to skin a cat. You just got to figure out which is the best way for you.
If you have a question for Coach Davis, raise your hand. We have one in the back on the right.
Stan Jastrzebski, WBAA Public Radio in West Lafayette. What have you told your team in the last few days about having to face 2 7-footers, either constantly having at least one of them in the game or doing what Purdue has done just a little bit of, which is having both of them in the game simultaneously? How have you prepared for that?
Well, we've got 2 guys that are 6'10", 6'11", one being similar to the size of your 2 guys, and Corey DeBerry's 6'10", 270. Octavius is not near as big weight-wise, but he's 6'10", 6'11". So our guys are pretty used to facing that every day. I think, what we've tried to prepare them for is the physicality at which those 2 guys play. They both are guys that throw their weight around, throw their bodies around, and we've tried to prepare our team in general for how physical the game, could be. And, we got to be prepared for that. We have a reputation for playing hard and physical as well, but Big Ten basketball, and I know Coach Painter for a long time, his teams are going to play really hard, and they're going to be very, very physical. So we've tried to prepare our guys for, the physicality of the game and how hard they're going to post up, how hard they're going to defend you, those kind of things.
If you have a question for Coach Davis, we have one on the left.
Teresa Walker, the Associated Press. Coach, when you have 2 teams that are so very similar, separated by almost millimeters, it seems, what do you have to try to do? Is it more execute your things as succinctly and perfectly as possible? No margin for error, I guess?
Yeah, and I think it'll be who wins the battle of the wills a little bit, who can separate themselves in each of those areas. Shooting percentage, who tomorrow stays true to their numbers and holds that team at around 38 to 39%. Will one of us be able to get going on offense and shoot 45, 50%? Rebounding, we're awful even in rebounding. Tomorrow, can one of us dominate the other, in rebounding a little bit? Those kind of things will separate who wins and loses the game. And again, it's going to come down to will, who can put their will on the other team.
If you have a question for Coach Davis, raise your hand. We have a follow-up question on the left side.
Atta girl.
Separate topic, though. What has Gary Clark brought to your team this season and contributed?
Well, for a freshman, he's been unbelievable in terms of just I've been doing this for over 30-some years. I don't know I've ever been around a freshman that was that coachable, that quick, and just bought into everything that you said. I mean, whatever you ask him to do, he does. I mean, I think if we told him, hey, Gary, stand at midcourt and spin you on your head 3 times, it'll make you a better player, he'd stand on his head at midcourt and spin 3 times every day just to be a better player. And he's brought us a guy who can score around the basket, you know, and we're fortunate that all of our big guys. A lot of times you have big guys who are just shot blockers only or rebounders only. Gary, probably he and Octavius lead this group, but he can score around the basket, and he's also putting up pretty good rebounding numbers for a freshman. But for a freshman to do what he's done, we've asked him to probably do too much. You know, usually a guy like Gary, if he's on a team that has experience, we really don't have a lot of people coming back. You know, he's a good player for you, but he's maybe your sixth man. He's coming off the bench, whatever. We've asked him from day one to be a starter, to help lead us in rebounding, help lead us in scoring, and he's been up to the task. So he means a lot to us. But I will say this, unbelievably coachable kid and great kid.
We have time for a few more questions, if there are any, for the associate head coach of Cincinnati, Larry Davis. Any further questions? We'd like to thank Larry Davis for joining us here in the main interview room. Coach Davis will head back toward the locker room right now, which is open for another 7 minutes.
Thank you.